Okay, Shaun, Duncan, I've got a question that I need to ask you both, and me and Shannon have been arguing about this for fucking ages, and I need an answer, okay?
Okay.
So, what is the thing with 2 wheels and pedals that you ride on?
Is this a trick question by any chance?
No. No, what is it called?
2 wheels and pedals, a bike.
It's a bike, yeah.
Bicycle.
Shaun, would you agree? It's a bicycle, yeah.
Bicycle, yeah.
If it's got 3 wheels and pedals, what is it called?
A tricycle.
Yeah.
Okay. If it had 4 wheels and pedals, would it be called a quike?
No, it'd be a car.
Yes.
It'd be a car.
Yeah, it would be a car or it would be a quad bike. Yeah, it would be a quad bike because that's what they're called. A bike with 4 wheels is a quad bike, not a quike.
Quad bikes have got the throttle on the handle.
Yeah, they don't have pedals,
but
do
like
they?
things.
In general terms, there is no such thing as a quike.
A quike, no.
There's not, is there?
No.
Can you, Shaun, for the YouTube video, can you put a poll up now asking everybody listening to this if a 4-wheeled bike is called a quad bike or a quike? And that is Quike.
Right.
It's not a quike, is it?
No, I don't. There's no such thing as a quike. I'm going to search it now, just out of curiosity.
Trust me, nothing shows up.
So it's shorthand for quite like. So,
yeah, like I quike that.
Quike
that quad bike.
I quike.
I really
bike with 4
quike
wheels.
that car. Yeah. That bike with 4 wheels.
So
I quike that quite a lot.
Quike.
So definitions.net, the description for quike is, did you actually mean quake or Q?
So I'm right.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a quake.
Bosh.
Tis
And
a
what
car.
a way to start a gaming podcast, eh? We'll talk about some quikes later on in Forza Horizon 5 segment we've got coming up.
Hundreds of quakes in that one.
Hundreds of quikes. Firstly, we've got to do the intro, haven't we, Shaun?
I'll get the housekeeping done first. Hello, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 2 of Gamers Watch.
Did your voice just break when you were doing that?
It did a little bit. I'm not very well, so cheers.
I am Shaun, and as always with me is Harry.
Hello.
And not the Quimmeister, because it's been retired.
Thanks. All right.
Right. So, let's get...
Was that your intro? Was that your intro? All right.
All right. What do you want me to say?
That's the best one. That's the best one you've ever done.
What? What? I said all right. That's the best one.
And with me is Duncan. All right.
All right. God.
The best one you've ever done, Duncan.
I don't. You're taking a piss. You're taking a piss at me. I'm sure you are.
I thought you were going to be like, all right, mate, how you doing, boy?
No,
it was just a guttural noise. Amazing.
Well, I actually just farted down the mic. Didn't even say anything.
You may as well have, mate. Would have had more substance.
I used my behind lips for that one.
So, Duncan is bringing us to our normal level very quickly.
Behind lips.
Follow us on Twitter. Leave us a review. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you for everyone who tuned in to the live show last week. If you want to subscribe to us, you can find us at youtube.com/gamerswatch, and we will be releasing these episodes from now on at 1 p.m.
Fuck that.
British Standard Time.
Do midday, because I don't have to sprint to work after then. I can actually stay for the conversation.
Okay. Let's just rewind.
Behind lips.
Subscribe to Gamers Watch podcast at youtube.com/gamerswatch, and we will be posting these episodes live, premiering them each Saturday at 12 p.m. British Standard Time. Is that better, Shaun?
Yeah, and also I've just realised I can do a Photoshop of behind lips as well for the video.
Please don't.
I could send you a picture if you want. Yeah.
There are not enough pixels in the world to block that site, Duncan. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
That will definitely get us flagged up. Whew. Are we done with the housekeeping then?
I think so. I think we ticked all the boxes. Oh, and hit the notification bell. There we go.
Yeah, smash that like button. And yeah, like follow us and all that shit, and recommend us to a friend. What? What?
It just sounded like in my head. I just pictured Duncan just slamming his head on the desk for no reason.
That wasn't me.
Oh,
for once, that wasn't me.
Oh,
That was me. That was me this time. Yeah. I flicked my headphone wire and it smacked into my microphone.
Oh.
The thing is I will have edited that noise out of the podcast, so now everybody's going to think that you're mental, Shaun. Unless I insert I'm going to insert a real comical boing noise over that. But yeah, that was me, Shaun. I thought I'd got away with it, but clearly not.
Oh no, that was loud. Oh God.
Man.
We're 8 minutes in.
Do we carry the podcast on, or do we start again at this point? What's going on?
We're going. Xbox News, brought to you by Midweek Mix-Up Podcast.
That was a very good segue. Thanks for that, Shaun.
That's all right.
The first bit of news is that Tom Cruise fucked Flight Simulator. Top Gun Maverick has been delayed for 6 months, and that means that the expansion tie-in that was also going to be coming out this December has been set back until May of next year. I'm very, very disappointed. But the good news is the world update came out today. So on the 7th of September, when we're recording this, the Germany... What? What?
That's the copy.
Who was that? Was that you, Shaun?
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
Jesus.
I tried to say Germany, Austria and Switzerland for the world update, and that came out instead.
Fucking Christ. So yeah, those places that Shaun just said. Season 3 is at a new level. I'm telling you, this is new heights of brilliance. So yeah, the new world update has come out, but Tom Cruise has decided to screw everyone over that plays Flight Simulator. Shaun, what else has happened in the world of Xbox over the last few days?
Over the last few days or over the last few minutes?
Well, a little bit of both. Because the starter cars for Forza Horizon were announced last week. Yeah, but literally 10 minutes before we were recording, the up-to-date car list came out.
Like several hundred cars. They said they're going to be adding more to the list between now and launch day. But we do now have, I don't want to count, but multiple hundreds of cars that are going to be
there's at least
at launch.
7. There's at least 7
there
cars
at least
on
7.
that list.
Yep.
Yeah, somewhere between 7 and 1,000. Somewhere between there. Shaun, have you had a look through the car list yourself?
I've had a little scroll. I have, yep.
Because they announced the starter cars that are the Chevrolet C8 Corvette Stingray, the Ford Bronco, the new model, not the O.J. Simpson escaping the police down the highway model,
right?
And the Toyota Supra. The Toyota Supra being in it is huge because Toyota for years have had exclusivity deals with Sony, so that is a big push, and that's why the Supra is all over their advertising at the moment. But I did make a bit of a joke to say these are not starter cars, these are finisher cars. And I would like you to just put Dennis Reynolds screaming that over me saying that, please.
Be gone, vile man. Be gone.
I am the golden god. So, Shaun, you've had a look through the list. What are you excited for?
Willys is one of them. Now that I know there is a car called Willys in it.
Yes, the Willys Jeep. Hilarious.
Also,
hilarity ensued.
There's Hot Wheels cars again.
There are.
Bone Shaker,
That's really
Twin
cool.
Mill, and Monster Trucks Bone Shaker.
Yeah, I'm pretty buzzed about that because I absolutely loved the Hot Wheels edition in previous Forza Horizon games. So that is, it's pretty cool. The car that I'm excited for the most, it's probably one that you're thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? It's the Vauxhall Monaro.
Yeah, you're right. Car. I'm thinking that.
Yeah.
Classic car. Yeah, real classic.
The Monaro is an amazing car. And I'm really, really buzzing to have it in Forza Horizon. And I know that sounds stupid, but I always wanted one as a kid after watching an episode of Top Gear. And when I went out to Australia to visit some family, there was a Monaro in a car park and it was doing donuts and it was amazing. And I've loved Monaros ever since. So, yeah, buzzing for the Monaro.
Or what about I've lost it now. The Reliant Supervan 3.
I mean, I'm not really excited for that, but whatever floats your boat, I guess.
Supervan 3. I want a Robin Reliant.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. That Trotter's independent trading van, is that the one?
Oh, I think it is, yeah. It is
Robin
that.
Reliant.
Yeah, but I'm looking through this list now. There are some belters on there. We were talking a little bit before with Duncan specifically, because Duncan is a huge car man. And when I say that, I mean that he's actually a transformer. But no, we were talking about some of the issues that people have with the Forza Horizon games is that they don't feel that there's sort of progression path through them. So people are sort of a bit put off by the fact that you start with these sort of like semi-supercars, and then within an hour of playing it, you have basically some of the fastest cars in the game. Duncan, as someone who literally doesn't give a shit about cars, how do you feel about that?
Couldn't give a fuck.
No.
Just play the fucking game. Stop whinging about everything, you miserable cunts. There's always a fucking problem, isn't there?
There is.
It's going to be great. Just play it, you wankers.
I'm sort of worried about our next segment. Shaun, as somebody who absolutely loves cars, has been to Goodwood Festival, has been to multiple Formula One events, how do you feel about the progression within Forza Horizon?
I feel it's perfect as it is, because you get to try all the different series of cars without having to grind for multiple hours to get to the fast cars. And it is literally how every main racing game that isn't like a dedicated series like Formula One, is how they've all done it for over a decade. Like Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit Remaster, I'll use that as an example because that's the recent one I played. You don't just stick to shit cars for like hours. It's literally within the first few events you unlock one of the cars in like a faster performance series. So I don't get where this concerns come from, because that's how games have been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah, I genuinely couldn't care less. My favourite thing about Forza Horizon 4 was that the first car that I unlocked was a Lamborghini Huracan, and I got to just razz the fuck out of a car as fast as I could in this amazing, stunning scenery. And that's what I'm excited to do in Forza Horizon 5. I don't care that there isn't a progression path. I just want to drive fast cars in a nice setting, and that's what I'm excited for.
There still will be a progression path, because you'll progress through different events to unlock like the, I can't remember what they're called, but like the super events where you race a train or a plane and stuff.
Yeah, so and you've also got the barn finds as well.
And there's the fact that you still have to unlock all the cars in a series. Even if you get given like a car in the fast series at the start, you still got to unlock the rest of the series.
Yeah, so it's not an issue at all then, no?
No, it's literally how racing games have been doing it for years, and it works because you get to just take your pick of what sort of performance you want to go with your cars, and then do a few races in that series, jump to another series.
Pretty much, yeah. So should we move on?
Yeah,
because we've just we've ended that discussion.
That's
From
done.
now on, no one can ever complain about that ever again. It's done.
It's buried faster than Zack Ryder.
Forza Horizon is done.
Got that reference.
I don't know who Zack Snyder is. Who's that?
Zack Ryder.
Who's Zack Ryder?
Do we open this can of worms again? He's a wrestler, Harry.
Oh, fuck that
tell you
shit.
what,
I'm not talking about
AEW in
that.
a minute, Sean, eh? Bloody hell.
Oh my god.
No. Don't you dare do this. Do not dare do this. All right? We are not going to be discussing the fact that in 1999, Mankind was thrown 16 feet off of Hell in a Cell through an announcer's table, all right? We are not going to discuss that. Also, Sean, you can't show that footage. You cannot show that footage in the podcast because WWE will flag it because they're fuckers.
The second coming of Punk, though.
Let's talk about something that I read the other day. It is a really good article by a chap called Brendan Lowry, who works for Windows Central as a writer. And his article covers quite an important thing, I feel. People are always saying that Xbox fans need to demand better. You need to demand better. You need to demand better. But I feel like Xbox fans consistently and constantly demand better. And they've even recently done that for PlayStation when it was announced that Sony went back on their promise of the free upgrade for Horizon, and then people kicked off and then they reversed that. So Brendan has written a really good article about basically the Halo controversies are just getting old. It's like it's quite tired now. And his article is about how every time there is new Halo news, it comes with an asterisk attached to it. So we got this amazing flighting test a few months back, and people were buzzing about the multiplayer and how seamless the combat was, and how much fun it was, and how wicked the play was. And then you also had attached to that the XP was going to be locked to daily challenges. Then they had the news that Forge and Co-op weren't launching. They announced this is the date that the game is coming out, but it's not the whole game. We're releasing Forge and Co-op later on down the line. And then when they announced more information on multiplayer and it looked really good, it then turns out that they're hiding a lot of the customization that you've been able to do in every single other game behind random, like, color-coded locking systems. I tried looking into it and I don't really understand what they've done, but they've essentially locked away color changes that were readily available in all other Halo titles and tied them to needless progression, with the caveat that it's only visual customization, so it doesn't matter, but it does, because things like red versus blue, for instance, wouldn't exist if Halo Infinite's customization model existed 20 years ago. And arguably, I feel that red versus blue is probably I think it's still the longest running continuous sci-fi show of all time, and it propelled Rooster Teeth into this like absolute monolith of internet content, and I'm just sort of bored of that. Would you guys agree that these controversies are just boring now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really that bothered about Halo anymore. Feels a bit weird to say, but yeah, I completely agree with the article. Just, I don't think it's going to be very good, the campaign.
It nailed how I feel to the point of, sure, the game will be good, but my excitement for it just wanes every day a little bit more. Every bit of news we get just seems to be another bit of shit.
I've got really low expectations for it. I don't trust 343 will do a great job, really.
They've had Halo for 10 years, and we're still at the point where 343 have to come out and be like, oh, we're really sorry. Oh, we're sorry. Like, how many more times do they have to say they're sorry? Shaun, I mean, did you read the article and sort of get a similar vibe that me and Dunks have?
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say that even though it is getting like tiring having all these little asterisks each time they release news, still need to like hammer onto them whenever the news does come out, sort of thing, instead of sort of accepting defeat, if that makes sense. So they'll just get away with it. But I'd agree. I mean, after the Xbox and Bethesda E3 showcase, I was saying how Halo Infinite was my like most anticipated game of the year now, and that's just gradually gone lower and lower down in the list of like games I'm most looking forward to. Like, I'm looking more forward to Back 4 Blood now.
It's funny, your article, Shaun, got me really excited for Halo, and then since then, just rapidly just got to be like,
yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and tweak it and be like, it might respect you as a gamer. But yeah, I think once it does come out, I imagine multiplayer will be amazing fun, but it just won't have the same big launch feeling like the week before it, sort of thing. So like, whereas if everything was launching and it was all going swimmingly like it was in the summer, the week before, I imagine I'd be buzzing each time, and every time I was on my Xbox, I'd be like, I just want to play Halo now. But the way it's going now, I imagine it'll get to like a day before and I'll be like, oh fuck, I haven't preloaded it yet, better do that.
Pretty much. I feel like the feeling that we all had when Flight Simulator was about to launch and then didn't work, that's the feeling we should have for Halo. I saw a picture the other day of a Toys R Us during the Halo 2 launch where the entire facade of the building was a giant Master Chief and there were queues around the corner. Obviously, digital gaming has changed that somewhat, but I just don't really care for Halo at the moment.
I don't trust that the launch is going to go well. I mean, don't book the day off to play it, because it's not going to launch properly and playable. And the lack of XP for multiplayer is a massive turn off. I don't like this challenger system at all.
It also depends what the challenge is going to be as well, because if it comes up with like a set of 3 challenges, and one of them for me is like get 20 headshots with a sniper rifle, I'll be like, oh, for fuck's sake, because I cannot stand sniper rifles in shooters.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
And I imagine, I can't remember if this has been said, if it's true or not, but I imagine there'll be a way that you can change the challenges if they're not something you want to do, but for a cost.
Yeah, there'll be a certain amount that you can do free per day, something like that.
So Battlefield 5 did that. I forget what they're called now. It tied into the season pass, but you had a choice. So you could have like different paths. So the top path would be build 50 fortifications, or the bottom path would be get 10 kills in a row. But it was such a chore because you're focused into playing this certain style that you're not used to, and you probably don't enjoy. And ultimately, you don't end up having any fun. So I mean, I guarantee if there's a sniper challenge, I'll just switch it off because I don't like. I'm crap at sniping, like you guys just said.
But the reason that they're doing that is it's the social media model where they want and need you to just keep coming back. They need you to keep Halo open for as long as possible. They need you to keep your phone on to be viewing Facebook as long as possible so that they can just keep bringing you back in this endless loop to just be like, you have to play it, you have to play it, you have to play it. I don't want that. That's not how I play or enjoy video games. Yeah, not much more we can say from there, is there?
No, I think it's just going to be a matter now of seeing what it's actually like at release.
Wait and see.
I mean, we're getting to the point now where we're going to have an onslaught of other games to take our mind off it anyway, like Back 4 Blood, Forza Horizon, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, all the other Game Pass editions.
Yeah, so I'm cautiously unoptimistic about Halo. There is an in other news bit of this show that we need to bring it up, but we won't be talking about it. Everyone that is on Twitter has probably seen that. I'm not even going to say his name. The former CEO of Tripwire came out and supported the Texas bill. We don't want to get political. However, a woman's body should not be political. All that we're going to say is that we do not agree with his views in any way. We think they're abhorrent. The actual bill itself that has been put forward in Texas, we feel is totally dehumanizing to 50% of the population of that state. And as a gaming podcast, it is not our place to talk about US politics. But suffice to say, personally, I'm not happy with Tripwire's response of him just standing aside, still being the owner, and just no longer being the public face. He has the same power and the same control, and I genuinely feel sorry for any woman that works for Tripwire or any of their developers. But we will literally not be expanding further than that, because it is not our place to comment on anyone else's decisions with what they do to their body. And on that somber note, shall we move on to something that's somber but for a different reason?
You mean the old Game in 60 Seconds?
Now, Shaun, for the people that don't know, what is Game in 60 Seconds?
Game in 60 Seconds is where we have 60 seconds to describe a game title, or in my case now with our YouTube content, show a picture that is basically a clue to a game title, but because they're very shit, it doesn't take 60 seconds at all. It takes about 3 to 5 seconds. And the only reason we've kept the title is just because we like Nicolas Cage and his film Gone in 60 Seconds.
So last week, Shaun, and we'll get the picture up on the screen now, you showed the world this.
Burger Man.
And I don't even need to link the photo in the Discord that we're chatting on. Duncan, can you imagine this seared into your brain right now?
Oh, yes, I can.
It's pretty fucking horrific, isn't
Saving it for a rainy day, yeah.
So, Shaun, talk us through.
We've had behind lips today, and now we've got burger lips.
Yes. So, this game, Shaun.
Yep.
Just very quickly, what game is this monstrosity?
So this magnificent beast is Maneater.
It is, which is quite ironic considering it's a Tripwire developed game.
Had to be the one week I do Maneater.
Yeah, and the reason it's Maneater is because it's someone eating a man.
It's a burger.
Fantastic.
Not just any someone.
Now, Dunks, your clue last week was fantastic, and it's possibly one of my favourite clues ever that have been on the podcast.
Made me blush.
What was your clue last week, Dunks?
It was Dave Benson Phillips has this in his basement.
Oh, it's proper good. Now, if you don't know who Dave Benson Phillips is, we'll put a picture up of him now.
Do you know what he does for a living now? Just to go off on a tangent. Do you know what he does now?
Know.
He runs a bouncy castle business.
Fuck off, does he?
Yeah.
So
don't know
David
why
Benson
that's so
Phillips
funny.
was essentially my childhood.
Yeah.
His entire thing was that he covered people's parents in gunge. And the game is Enter the Gungeon. And I love that. I think it's brilliant. And we've actually got 3 clues for people this week. So we've got 2 clues for the audio podcast listeners, and we've got 1 special clue for all of the YouTube watchers. So I'm going to do mine first. Duncan, you do yours after, and then Shaun will save your latest abomination last, all right?
Yep.
So my clue is that American mac and cheese. This is really stupid. That American mac and cheese is basically like heaven. That American mac and cheese is basically like heaven. Duncan, what is your clue?
Choo choo. Arg.
What? Do that again, Duncan. Do that again.
Wait a minute. Choo choo. Arg.
Choo choo. Arg.
Oh my god, I've got it as well. You'll have to bleep it, Harry. Is it?
Okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That is ridiculous.
It's amazing.
Oh, no.
Absolutely amazing.
Oh, all right, Shaun. Throw this on
Okay,
us.
so I'll get this caught up. I haven't gone like the monstrosity route because I thought Burger Man can't be topped. So I've gone for
Okay.
one that's sort of like you just examine the different bits of the picture and like get to it there. So it will be appearing on people's screens right about now.
Okay. All right. What is this? Hang on, let me just get a bigger look. What? What? Okay, for the people listening via audio platform, there's a man
I know what it is.
holding a trophy with a dead bird on a green screen.
Yep.
And it says, "Hello, my name is," and then the name is like half cut off. Do we need the name to know?
The name's part of the clue.
Oh fuck! I haven't got it then.
I don't.
But I
I don't
thought-
even know.
I thought having the full name would just like a load of people would just instantly click sort of thing because it's not a very widely used name.
I get it. Yeah, I know what it is.
Is it? No, Dunks, you say it. You say it.
You get to bleep it. Is it what?
Yep.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Because it's, and again, obviously bleep this, it's a
Right, but why is it on a trophy?
I don't know, I just found that stock picture and I just laughed. I was like, I need to have him holding that.
For fuck's sake. Right, okay. Brilliant. Cheers for that, Shaun. Great. Another fantastic addition to Game in 60 Seconds. Can we talk about Game Pass or Play now instead?
Oh, yeah, okay. Let me scroll back
So
up from
last
that.
week, what did we play last? Oh, we played 12 minutes last week and it was shit.
12 minutes to Psychonauts 2.
This week, we played Myst. And if you're not sure what Myst is, neither am I. I don't know. That's my review. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I played it for 20 minutes and I don't know what it was. So I'm going to be talking about Signs of the Sojourner. Shaun, I'm just going to let you talk. Just 5 minutes. Give me your review
I was going to say,
Myst.
it won't take too long.
Okay.
I wanted to enjoy it, but I couldn't most of the time. I don't know. I still can't figure out if it's just the game in general I don't enjoy, or the fact that the remaster still seems like stuck in the past. So I'll go in the game itself first. The puzzles are not, at least at the start, are not hinted at in the slightest. Like, so you start off on the island of Myst, and basically there's just these several different buildings. There's a few different knobs and levers and that you can interact with. And I must have spent a good 45 minutes just walking around thinking, like, what the fuck do I do? And it was only by chance that I managed to find a book somewhere that sort of slightly hinted at something. But yeah, it doesn't do a good job of guiding you through different puzzles. Pretty much like you were saying last week about 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just the clues are either non-existent or just don't really do much. So yeah, I struggled with that a bit. It does eventually get a little bit better with the clues, but it's still quite hard. But the thing I really didn't like, it's supposed to be like a remaster, and obviously Myst is one of the most like famous puzzle games of all time. But all they've really done is update like the visuals. So you have to, a lot of the clues are quite in depth, and you have to basically have a notebook with you to jot stuff down and draw like star maps and different things to be able to remember it for when you get to the area where the clue needs to be used, because it doesn't give you like a journal or an inventory in the game to just save stuff so you can just quickly look at it again, which is something I'm not really a fan of. Like if I have to
No, I mean when I go and play Xbox, I don't go and get a binder out.
No,
that's not something I normally do. I don't get my file of facts out.
Yeah, it just feels like a bit of a disconnect, I guess, from the game. Like having to constantly look away from the screen and look at like a book or whatever I've jotted down the notes on. It just feels like it takes away from the immersion a bit.
I just want to add something in, because obviously I didn't play the game, but I'm massively aware of it. And so I watched a few YouTube, not Let's Plays or walkthroughs, but I watched a few YouTube mini docs about this game, and it was a cultural phenomenon when this game launched. It was like nothing else that had ever released. And the main way that people would play this was with friends, and they would all come over, and it was essentially like a Dungeons and Dragons scenario where it would be a group of friends who would slowly work their way through the game, trying different things, role-playing like as themselves in the world of Myst. But that's not how people play video games anymore, and especially during obviously the pandemic, people haven't been able to do that. So I feel for me, it's a game that just should have stayed in the past.
That is basically how I've written it word for word in my notes. I've said that it's because there is times when stuff starts flowing in certain levels and it is really good fun, but the amount of times you have to sort of stop to either take notes or just the clues completely disappear and it just halts all the like flow of the game. It just feels, I think I can appreciate that it was an amazing game for its time and probably led to many of the amazing games that I love now, like puzzle games like The Witness and games like that. But it's probably best left in the past.
Yeah.
Unless.
So does it get a pass or a play?
I'm going to give it a pass just because it should be left in the past.
So you might say you should have given it a Myst.
Oh my god.
I'll get a little rendering of that up. But yeah, it's just, the game itself feels like you can feel it's outdated, and then the remaster is just lazy, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, they could have done a lot more to the remaster.
Well, that's pretty much why I gave up after about 20 minutes, and not because that's how I play video games, Duncan, but it just wasn't very good.
You're the one that fucking does it, not me. So.
Every fucking time I'm like, oh, I don't really like that game. You're like, you don't like any game, you cunt.
It's because every time you say, I've played it for 20 minutes, I'm uninstalling it.
Yeah, but Myst was really boring.
It was the initial part is absolutely the worst thing in that game. Like, normally I can kind of get a grasp of what to sort of where to lead off to start it, and I was just lost for a good 40 minutes.
The way it goes for me is if I don't like a game within the first half an hour, my mind is made up. A game should like show you what it's all about and get you interested within half an hour. Myst showed me nothing for half an hour, and I was just more confused when I came out of playing it. So what I did is I went onto Game Pass and I saw that a new game had just come out. Well, it's not a new game, but it's a new game to Game Pass. It had just come out, and it's called Signs of the Sojourner. And I had no idea what it was. I had no idea how it would play. I just looked at the description and it said it was a card game, and I thought, oh, I quite like Slay the Spire. Let's give this a go. And I started it at about 10 o'clock in the evening on a Friday night, and at 2:30 in the morning on a Saturday I was still playing it. It's very good. So to give people a quick overview, if they haven't heard or played this game before, it's a card game, but it's a bit more like dominoes where you have to match symbols in order to progress. But what you're progressing is conversations with people. And so the sort of story of the game is that your mum has passed away and she's left you the keys to her shop in this small town, and you've got no inventory. And so what you need to do is you need to travel through this sort of fictitious world, speaking to people, having conversations with people, connecting with people, and then when you've connected with someone, they might give you a trinket that can then go in your shop. You travel along in this convoy, and the longer you travel, the more tired you get. And then you get these cards that show up in your deck that basically mean that the conversation is going to like end because you're tired and you're exhausted. The best thing about this game is the way that you get rid of the exhaustion cards is you talk to your dog, and it's so good. You talk to your dog and it gets rid of your exhaustion. Each place that you go to, the symbols change. So the first time you get to a new place, you won't understand how to speak to these people because your symbols won't match. So what you have to do is you have to go to these towns knowing full well that you can't talk to them, and you feel like you're not progressing because you're losing, in inverted commas, you're losing the level by not getting to that goal at the end of having a proper conversation. But every time you have a conversation, you get a card. So you can build these different decks up, and you can plan each of your trips around what conversations and what people you're going to interact with. It was a really, really thought-provoking game, and I don't want to get too sort of like ahead of myself, but I've not played a game like this before, and I think in a time where we've all been in lockdown and we haven't been able to see or speak to people, having a game that encourages you to listen to what other people have to say is just quite nice. And that's just sort of how I would explain this game. It's just lovely, and it just works fundamentally. It's a game with a twist, with this card game mechanic that just works so well, and I didn't want to put it down, and I've been playing it since. I've done about 3 playthroughs now. Each playthrough is different. You basically have 5 attempts to fill up the shop, and I'm not bored of it, and I'm going to keep on playing it. And even if it's just for an hour every now and again via the cloud, to just jump into this lovely, beautiful looking game and engage with its characters is something I'm excited to do again. So it's a gameplay from me.
So is it kind of similar to, like me and Duncan were talking about last week with Psychonauts 2, where not necessarily like focused on mental health, but it sort of goes into social aspects and that, but it explores and expresses it through the gameplay sort of thing? Yeah,
so each conversation that you have, like, you don't just focus on, oh, I need to get these cards to match up, because you also get cards that have different abilities and powers. You'll get a blank card that matches the one before. You'll get a card that can just work with any other conversation card. You'll get certain ones that mean you can insert a card into a different place of the conversation. So there is an aspect of like tactical awareness that you need, but you just end up wanting to talk to people and listen to their stories. And the more you listen to their stories, the more of the world that unlocks. So it encourages you to have dialogue and go outside of your sort of like normal boundaries. And I would say that it is about sort of like mental health. You're grieving the death of your mother, and you have to have difficult conversations with friends and family, and it just works. Fundamentally, it's just a game that it's just lovely to play, and I would recommend anyone just picking it up and giving it a go. If it's not your type of game, I get that. It wasn't my type of game, and I can't recommend it enough. It's one of the just loveliest games I've played this year, and yeah, I can't recommend it enough.
Fair enough. It sounds like the sort of game you can pick up and play as well. I'm literally just looking into it again because I watched the videos you sent me of it, but I haven't got around to playing it yet because I've been playing a bit of PlayStation as well. But I
don't know if either of you ever played a game called Patapon on the PSP.
Yes.
It's very similar. It's very, very similar to Patapon, but with conversations instead of music.
Instead of high-pitched tribal chants.
Yes. So that's how I would explain it. It's conversation Patapon. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Really, really liked it.
I'm going to have to give that a go. That might be my cloud game I play then. I imagine like on my breaks at work.
I don't know if it's got touch controls.
Oh, I'll take my controller in my bag. It's fine.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, just really thoroughly enjoyed it. And it would be good for cloud because obviously there's no input delay that's going to cause any issues. So yeah, highly recommend it. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to move on to Duncan Voices Indie Choices. This week, Duncan has played the recently released Song of Iron, and he's about to discuss this one-man developed game that has been all over social media and Twitter for the past few weeks. So, Duncan, I'm going to pass it over to you. How did you find the game?
Thanks, Harry. Yeah, great. What? Oh, hang on. Hang on, I've pulled my fucking mic out.
No!
No, hang on.
Oh my god.
No, it
mate,
wasn't
your
my mic.
audacity's going to have stopped.
It was my headphones. Phew. Audacity's still going. Because it doesn't matter. I'm not going to explain it. But basically,
Hang on, we'll just start again.
Yeah.
Hang on. So, Duncan, how did you find Song of Iron? Did you enjoy the experience?
Overall, Harry, yes, I think I did enjoy the experience, but there were some things that made me think it's a bit of like a shit sandwich. It's literally like a shit sandwich of a game. So, like you said, it's a one man dev game, and I bloody love them. I love a one man dev game. So story wise, it's really bare bones. So a bit like Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla when it starts. So you're a Viking, male or female, in your village. Some bastard Vikings come in, F it up, and you have to go off on a little lonely romp through the wilderness to avenge your clan. So first things first, it looks unbelievable. Like when you consider it is just a one man dev. The atmosphere and the music are astonishingly good, especially the music. I think maybe someone else did that. But you have like this kind of like this rolling kind of Viking chant as you go through. It's really good. But the middle portion of the game really wound me up. So I feel really kind of conflicted about criticising it, because it's obviously is it Joe Winters, the guy that made it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't spoken to him, but I've heard he's like a super nice bloke. I see him knocking about on Twitter quite a lot. So I'm really kind of reluctant to knock it, but there were some things that really hampered my experience with it. So the combat, it in the trailers it looks really cool. So you've got a shield that degrades over time, and you can pick up weapons and chuck them. But I literally made it to the end of the game by standing still and just pressing attack and just swinging my axe or sword or whatever. You have as you go through the game, you earn kind of like magical spells, so you can set your sword on fire or turn it into electricity, lightning, etc. But it just felt like there was no impact to the combat. So I could stand there, there were all these goblins rushing at me, and I could just stand there and just swing my sword, and they'd die, and I'd carry on, or I'd just roll through them and walk forward and don't have to fight them. And the same with like the boss fight. So there's not many, there's like 3 or 4, and they are all literally the same fight. So you roll through the attack, you have to turn around quite slowly, you might end up a bit too far away, and you have to hit the boss, and then you roll through, do the same hit, roll through, hit, roll through, hit, until they die. And I didn't feel like there was any peril like during the fights. Occasionally I died if I got overwhelmed, but it just felt really flat to me, and I see a lot of people saying the combat's brilliant. Don't get it, really don't. But there's other kind of really fucking frustrating bits. So the middle section of the game, you go into like a big cave network, and it reminded me a little bit, if anyone's played it, the original Dragon Age, where you go into the Deep Road, or like the Mines of Moria, for example, in like Lord of the Rings, where it kind of hints at this big underground city. But there's quite a bit of like platforming in it, and the game just doesn't have the mechanics to hold it up. So there's one bit particular that's fucking drove me mental. So like you can jump up to high ledges, but it does that thing that you get in like Limbo or Inside, where you have to drag a box over to jump up on the ledge. But so there was a ledge I couldn't get up, so I thought, all right, well I'll go and get the box so I can jump up on the box to get up on the ledge. But the box my character had to jump up on was higher than the ledge I was trying to fucking get on in the first place, and it was so I was like, well, what's the fucking point? What's a waste of time? And then there was another very specific bit where I had to jump up on push a box, and I needed to run and jump off of the box to get on this ledge. But the problem is that the running animation, so you hold down the left trigger, the running animation didn't kick in every time I pressed it. So I'd press it down, run and jump, or well, I'd walk and jump, I'd fall off the box. So then I'd have to kind of literally must have tried it 15-20 times until eventually he ran when I wanted him to run so he could jump. and it really spoiled it for me because there's so much potential in it, but I feel like he's tried to really cram in lots of things that have made other games of that type really good. So I mentioned Limbo and Inside. I got quite a lot of the feeling of that, so like the side-scrolling adventure game, but like super atmospheric. But I will just put a spoiler warning in now, because I need to discuss the ending.
So yeah, the caveat to this bit is it is going to be quite spoiler heavy, and I have played this game to completion, and Shaun has seen the ending of the game.
Yeah.
And Duncan has obviously played the ending of the game. So if you don't want the ending of Song of Iron spoiled, mute now. Okay then, Duncan. Please tell me your thoughts on the ending very quickly.
I saw lots of things before I completed it on Twitter. People saying, "Oh, the ending is amazing. It's like the twist is like an Inside." And I don't know if you played Inside. The twist in that is chef's kiss, lovely. The ending of this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever fucking. I was literally laughing at the screen. So ultimately, it's Star Wars. So you're a Viking who ends up in the fucking Death Star, and when you get there, so basically you have a little rumble with Thor. He's got his electric powers, so that comes in handy later. So then he fucks off in this big cave. You follow him in, and it's literally the Death Star. Like, you put it side by side to like a picture of Star Wars and this game, is it? And then
don't do that because Disney will sue us.
Don't do that. do your own time. And then you have guys in predominantly white armour and helmets, so black and white armour, shooting lasers at you, who they look a little bit like stormtroopers. And then Thor comes up to you and he's like, I've been cloning this army to fucking take over the world for the Imperium or something like that?
Yeah.
So the Empire then. So you've got the guy with electric fucking fingers talking about cloning a fucking army for the fucking Empire. And I cannot believe that no one fucking has been like, it's fucking Star Wars, this is dumb. This is so dumb. And it was fucking so stupid. And then you need to you rescue some guys, and then you run towards the end fight with the rebellion of chums, and you have lasers fucking flying at you. You have a little punch up with Thor. He gets in a spaceship. Fucking flies off.
He gets in a Star Destroyer.
and he fucking flies off. I can't believe it. And then you get Mjolnir. I presume it's Mjolnir, the Thor's hammer. And then your character goes, "All right, what now then?" What do you mean, what fucking now? you just done the fucking Star Wars ending.
So me and Shaun were seeing this happen live via Facebook Messenger, and it's one of the most glorious things that I've ever bared witness to.
It was because for a little while before Duncan actually got to it, I was saying, like, loads of people. I've seen loads of people say there is a massive twist, and I don't get how a game that obviously is not going to have that deep of a story can have a massive twist. So I was like, you need to tell me this twist because I won't be able to wait to play it myself.
And then Duncan just messaged us like, "I've got to the twist, guys. I've got to the twist."
It was like, I have to finish this before I tell you the twist, by the way.
Okay, so I want to just caveat something very quickly. Firstly, I don't like the ending. I do like the game. I genuinely do like it, and a lot of what Duncan has said in regards to the combat, I quite like the combat, personally. It reminded me a little bit of like Golden Axe games, where it's sort of like you don't have to worry about how many monsters are on the screen. It is just a case of swing the sword and kill whatever's in front of you, which I did quite like. I played the game after Duncan had told me and Shaun what the ending was. So I went into the game knowing how it would end. So I spent essentially my entire playthrough looking for clues like, oh, there's a little Yoda, or oh, look, that's a little robot in the background. I basically spent my entire playthrough looking for lightsabers, and there was nothing hinted. And yeah, I feel like we talked last week about the incest twist, obviously in 12 minutes, and I thought there's no way that we can have a twist weirder than that. And then we got Norse Wars. And yeah, it just confused me more than anything else. But I enjoyed the game. I genuinely did. I really liked the combat. The setting of the game is stunning. And like you said, the soundtrack and the aesthetics are absolute chef kiss. They are so good. And for it being a one-man developed game, I would genuinely recommend this game. I think it is genuinely a really good game. It's just let down by a few small inconsistencies for me.
Well, that's the thing. So when I said it was a shit sandwich, I'll probably sound like I'm not going to recommend it, but I am. There's something really compelling about it. So even though I was getting quite annoyed with some of the annoying little bits in the middle, I still felt compelled to go back on and finish it off. Maybe it was the atmosphere. Maybe in the back of my head, I'm like, well, it's a one man game. I feel like I owe it to him to do it. And it's my thing that I said a few weeks ago about Biomutant. Like really tiny teams, I feel deserve a bit of leeway when it comes to the performance of the games, and especially how good this looks and sounds. You just imagine I hope this does really, really well. So then for a follow-up, or if Joe does anything else, he has a budget and a backing from a publisher, and then it will do something really, really special, like 100%. So that's why I really recommend it. If you're on the fence about it, definitely get it, because I really want Joe Winters to basically for this to be successful for him, so then he can make something even better in the future.
Well, this is something that we did talk about, obviously, before we recorded, was sort of like loose opinions that we had on the game. And I think both of us came to the same conclusion, that we hope this is the springboard that means that somebody sees the talent that he very clearly has, and gives him the resources to be like, right, go and do this. And I feel like how visually stunning and how amazing the sound production is in this game. And for me, the gameplay I feel is quite tight. All I can think of is if he had X amount more budget, if he had a bit more possibly time at his disposal, if he had 3 or 4 people that he could sort of put some work onto, what are we going to get next?
Oh,
that
exactly.
is genuinely a really exciting thought.
And you know, we really want to support like indie games. So I wouldn't be critical if I didn't mean it. And I think, like, if you don't, then you run the risk of just having these bullshit cookie cutter AAA games, when, you know, indie games as a whole, they're just trying to do something completely different. So yeah, if you're on the fence about it,
they're games that aren't made by committees. They're games that are made by passionate people. And the thing about passionate people is they don't just want to be told everything they do is great and keep it up and keep doing this. Like, they want to push themselves forward. They want to be better at things. That they want to make the best possible thing for their audience. And I feel like we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't give a true thoughts on the game, which is a game that we both enjoyed.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I hated it, because I didn't. I did enjoy it, even though I was like, no, I fucking hate this game. And I was messaging
and obviously,
you both.
Social media is so full of black and white statements of like, you either love something or you hate something. There's no in-between ground. I don't know how many times we have to say this, but you can like something and also be critical of it. We like Xbox, but we spent the first 10 minutes of this show complaining about how shit Halo looks. Like, you can enjoy something but also be like, didn't quite work in that little bit, and that's totally fine. So yeah, should we move on to?
Well, I need to give the rating for the vid, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, because
you do.
I got shiny new graphic as well to use for this.
Yeah.
If it's ready in time.
I'm not gonna. So it's not all the way up to the elbow, but just get your your fist into like little knuckly, get a little bit of knuckles going, and just tickle around the rim. Just a little tickle around the rim, and that's my rating for Song of Iron.
So to the knuckles.
Just not all the way in. You know, up to you. If you're cleaning your bum, but you know, just put your fingers into like
how
a little.
How the hell do you clean your arsehole?
Just stick a finger up there. What are you doing?
Use his toothbrush. It's his bottom lip.
Do you not?
Or really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Soap it up. Slip a finger. What? You don't do that. Are you telling me you don't clean your bumhole? Come on.
Can we move on?
Unbelievable. So
can we move on?
Little tickle around the rim. That's all you do.
Little tickle around the rim.
Little tickle around the rim.
Fantastic. We are now going to move on to Gamers Watch segment 4, A No Hope. Now, it's not actually a no hope. This segment is actually Remaster Debate. So we are going to be talking about the Alan Wake remaster. Initially it was leaked, but it has now been fully announced that we're likely to see it release October 5th, I think, is the date that's been floated about. And it's a very quick question, and it is what we're going to end the podcast on. It is with the news that Alan Wake is being remastered. I'm going to give all of you listening, and Shaun and Duncan, the choice of 4 sort of forgotten games for the Xbox 360 era that I would like to see remastered, but which one would you like to see the most? So the options are The Saboteur, Brutal Legend, Dante's Inferno, and Prototype. So first of all, I'm going to ask you both, what game do you think I would like to see remastered?
I reckon you want The Saboteur, because you're a secret hipster.
Shaun?
I was going to go for what game is actually my pick as well and say Dante's Inferno.
I would like to see Brutal Legend remastered.
But that's the obvious pick.
Well, yeah, exactly.
you said,
it's the one that I would like.
Yeah, but you before this, you were like, I don't think it'll be the one you think it will be for me.
Yeah, because I knew...
Of course Brutal Legend will be the one we think for you.
Because I knew that you would think, like, he's going to go for one that's not very obvious.
Only because
Brutal
you said
Legend.
it's not going to be what we think.
Brutal
Legend.
It really holds up. It really holds up. It doesn't need a remaster. What a waste.
No, I want it to look lovely. I want photorealistic Jack Black. Firstly, I just want to say one thing. I fucking hate The Saboteur. I think it's a piece of shit.
I never actually got around to playing it.
It's not good. Everyone bangs on about it being a hidden gem. The only reason that I put it in there is because every single search that I did over the last few days of hidden gem Xbox 360 games, every fucking list had The Saboteur at number 1. I don't like it. For me, it would be Brutal Legend, then Dante's Inferno, then Prototype, and then put The Saboteur in the bin.
Oh, good job.
Duncan, what game would you like remastered?
Well, not The Saboteur, because I don't want to fall out with you. Probably Prototype, actually. I remember that being really dumb fun, and I nearly bought it yesterday actually because it's in the sale. But yeah, I loved that. It was just. Did you ever play? It was like the Incredible Hulk game. Can't remember what it was called. And he just went around.
Incredible Hulk, the video game.
Yeah, it's called like Ultimate Smash or something like that. There was one of them. But it's just like a big open world, and you're the Hulk smashing up shit. But yeah, this game you get to be a bastard and doing the same thing.
Pretty much.
So yeah, quite fancy that. Because I think they didn't remaster it, but they just gave it a lick of paint and re-released it, and
they did a
great.
HD version where they just cranked it from 480 to 720p, basically.
Yeah.
Like they did with Silent Hill when they ruined Silent Hills 2. So that is this episode done. We've talked about four-wheeled trikes.
Cool, I won't go into detail of Dante's Inferno then. Cheers then. Cool, yep, no, end of episode.
Oh, shit.
So rude. I
know.
I forgot about you, Shaun. Sorry,
I think
I'm
he's hosted 35 fucking episodes already.
Go on then, talk about Dante's Inferno.
It's a brilliant game.
It is, it's really good.
It's a really good...
Still holds up though, what a fucking
hack and
waste.
slash. Oh, no, it's actually...
You pack it in.
I'll get a picture as well of this. It's actually the only game, because I used to be one of those people that was obsessed with never selling their games and having like physical copies, just because I liked having the display of all the cases.
It's also got some titties at the start of the game too.
It does a fair few throughout the game as well.
Dead lady titties. No, don't that, Shaun. That's disgusting.
But I then became poor around about the time that what was it? Oh yeah, I racked up tons of student debt, and
yeah, but at least you didn't get a degree out of it.
No, I know. So I started trading all my games in that, and the only game I still have is my launch day collector's edition of Dante's Inferno.
Nerd.
Great game. On par with some of the old God of Wars. I'll go there. I'll go that far.
Wow,
there we go.
That's a shout.
David Jaff will be very happy with that.
Yeah, Dante's Inferno remastered.
There we go.
With titties.
So on that, as we've
now
you're talking
spoken
about
to
all
boobs,
three of us,
the Saboteur has got DLC specifically about tits.
Right.
Yeah? There's like a little strip club. You can go in the back of it. Just letting you know in case you want to change your mind.
Did you say it was in the sale?
No, that was prototype. I'll tell you what though, Shaun.
The greed circle of hell, because if anyone doesn't know, Dante's Inferno is you going through the different circles of hell. The greed circle could have Burger Man as a new enemy.
Right, we're ending this podcast right now. I do not want to talk about Burger Man anymore, although we will be launching a shirt with Burger Man on it very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody who has tuned in to this episode. A massive thank you to all the people that showed up for the premiere. Me and Shaun expected like 3 people to show up, and we were overwhelmed with support. Yeah, so we were utterly overwhelmed by the support that we've had, and that's continued because our last episode is now our most viewed episode and downloaded episode of all time after 3 days. So it really seems like we missed a trick with YouTube. So a massive thank you to everyone. Please smash that like button. Follow us on Twitter @GamersWatchCrew, and you can subscribe to the show, youtube.com/GamersWatch. We have some big things planned. We've got some more content on its way outside of the standard podcast, and we're just really excited to show you what we've got. So from everybody at GamersWatch, keep on gaming.
No. That's my bit.
Shit.
Fucking hell.
What's wrong with
edit
you,
this
man?
bit out. I'm editing this bit out.
Episodes. No.
I'm editing this bit out.
Covering your tracks.
I was reading it on the screen and I just read your bit.
Why did you need to read it?
I got it in my head. So I'm looking at the wrong fucking episode as well. It's in the last one. So fuck it, this is all staying in the podcast. Can't be asked editing it. So from everybody at Gamers Watch, keep on listening.
And keep on listening.
You fucking dickhead. You absolute dickhead. I knew that was coming. You know what, I'm ending. Keep on gaming. We're ending the podcast. I'm done. Fuck you.